Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me today for another Epic Surf News episode where we're going to have a board meeting style format. And today I'm with none other than Dave from the Cali Camp. What's up, Dave?
How you doing? Good to see you.
Yeah, you too, brother, man. Every time I see you, I met you at the beach, so I'll talk a little bit about that. But every time I see Dave, he's out there, in the surf mix, but actually making some money, doing some work, sharing the stoke with other surfers around the world. So that's kind of the general thing about Dave, and I'm going to let him get into that in a second. But usually I'm in the parking lot, and surfers kind of have that peripheral thing, paying attention to what's going on. And so I've seen Dave come up and kind of coming up with a group of people, and everybody looked like they're having a great time. Dave guiding them to a good surf session, it looked like. And so I just got to rapping with Dave. So Dave, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing, the Cali Camp, and how all this works?
Uh, okay, yeah, it's a long story. The shortest version would be I lived in Bali for a couple of years,
Oh,
and I started over there as a surf guide, working in a surf camp.
yeah.
And fast forward a bit, I ended up getting another job over there that was a little more serious, but I
Mhm.
always stayed real connected to the surf camp and learned about this style of guiding, and
Yeah.
hosting people's surf trips over there. And at the time I could see I was learning they existed, all over the world. And they
Mhm.
were doing it in this certain way that was like to everyone's level and really
Yeah.
low impact on, surf spots and small groups. And I really thought it was cool. It was a lot
Yeah.
different than what I'd seen here. So um, jumping forward in 2012, I moved home, and by 2013, people were coming here and wanting to do a 1 or 2 week surf trip in California, and I was more than happy to take them on that trip.
Yeah.
That's been doing ever since.
So a little bit more than a couch tour for people. So they're not coming and flopping on your couch. I mean, you have a whole setup of like services, and it says like a all inclusive style program.
Yeah, everyone stays in our hotel that we've been partnered with for 7 going on 8 years in
Okay.
Dana Point, and we've got
Okay.
a
Yeah.
beautiful little courtyard area of rooms, and we'll host up to 15 guests in the camp
Oh wow.
a week. That's like full for us, but we split the surf groups into 3 to maximum 4 plus a guide, and
Okay.
we're right here in the middle between LA and San Diego, and there's nothing but surf in all directions. So it's really cool to break them up into small groups and go surf these little obscure waves where there's no one out. Or
Right.
running into you in Oceanside. I've always liked to think we just keep it super cool, chilling
Yeah.
on the white water, having a good time.
Yeah. No, for sure. It seems like you kind of guiding your people to kind of like identify where to paddle out,
Sure.
and where to have a good time and all that and etiquette, which is always super cool for the locals. And
Sure.
for people out there, Dana Point is South Orange County, just above San Clemente. So, like you said, I mean, right in that little region from South OC to North San Diego, there's a bunch of reefs, of course, trussels, right?
Right. I mean, it's crazy because, when I was younger, I used to love just driving around the coast and looking in these weird little neighborhoods, finding waves with no one around has always
Right.
kind of been my thing. And it's just amazing, how I've just see how everybody kind of magnets to these spots. But if you just like take that extra little turn around the corner, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's really a lot easier to find really fun waves without anybody out than anybody would really think.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people they come to Southern California and they got kind of a hit list of things they want to do, and definitely places like lowers and uppers, and they can be pretty intense. So I think
Yeah,
if you're a beginning surfer or a mediocre surfer, it's one of those places you could paddle out and get skunked, no waves if you
yeah,
don't know how to do it.
yeah. It's not a good time for anyone, when I mean, we all know what it's like to have surfers who are beyond their limits out in the lineups. So when I was growing up, learning to surf, like you would never paddle out to the main spot. You're like down the way. And I think somewhere along the way, this has been lost a little bit.
Yeah.
So I really still stick to that. You know, I don't think there's anything fun about taking people who are beginner or even intermediate out to these types of spots with a huge crowd. So I've always said, to be a good surf guide, you take your guests to the best possible waves for their level, not for our level, but for theirs, with the lowest possible crowd. So if I'm on a trip or you're on a trip, we pretty much want the same thing. So it just scales from beginner up to expert, you know. And if somebody comes along and they're, you know, want to surf lowers, we'll take a good look and make that call. And by the time you're taking someone to surf lowers, you're not guiding them. Right. You're just taking them out, and you're on your own, dude. So
right. Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, I mean, there are so many nooks and crannies. I mean, there's all these, you know, famous spots you can go to, but like you said, probably 5 minutes down the way, there's like a really good peak with like nobody or two guys on it or two people on it.
It's cheesy to say, you know, but like can really get someone a decent wave pretty much every day here. And we surf so many sessions. It's not on our website because no one would really believe it. But once they're here, they see, you know, and that's where that local knowledge and those years and years and years of just like scouring this whole coastline just comes into play. It's like you do it for long enough, you start to know exactly where to go on any given day.
Yeah, and even like, you know, the top surfers in the world, even the ones that live local, they're not paddling out at lowers themselves even every day, right? I run into those guys at little no-name spots all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I've got Filipe Toledo surfing the little weird wave down the street from my house in San Clemente, like see him down there just pillaging, you know, it's really cool. And he makes it look like the funnest wave in the world.
Right. He makes it look like lowers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really cool, man. And that's what I think I noticed is that when some of the people that you've been guiding, they come out of the water and I usually see them, you know, packing up the gear and they always have a big smile on their face. I've seen them out in the water and so they're all having a good time. Nobody's getting yelled at by grumpy locals and they seem comfortable. And I've seen you actually on the shore sometimes to kind of provide a little more insight, which is awesome.
Yeah, you know, I mean, the quickest way for me to like go from being super cool guy Dave, taking you surfing to like kind of like, hey, got to crack the whip a little bit, is when I see him start to drift off into that zone, and I'll point it out every single time. You know, like that's the zone. We're over here, and if you start to go, I'm gonna come get you. You know.
And that makes them a stronger surfer in the long run anyways, right? Because they're able to identify themselves, what's going on around them.
Yeah, they've got to know their level, you know, because the worst thing that happens is that somebody leaves and they think, you know, okay, I've done it, you know, and then the next thing you know, they're out smashing boards with you. So I've always said, you know, if someone's going to do it, at least do it the right way. Yeah,
well, you mentioned smashing boards. I was just working on a video that'll probably go up before this one, but I just picked up 2 boards from the ding repair guy myself. And, you know, sometimes that's me getting a little just over frothing, right? But a lot of times that also includes somebody who's unaware of what they're doing. And, you know, and then, you know, that ends up costing somebody $50, $40, $100, depending on how bad you smash the board.
You know, or a cut or something worse. And, you know, I'm really proud of our, and I should knock on wood, but, you know, we've been doing this since 2013 and, you know, our injuries and, you know, any issues we've had is just super, 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 super low.
Okay, good. That's awesome.
And in 7 years, you know, I've never had anyone go, hey, what are you doing? Da, 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 da. You know, it's like, because it's just, if you do it the right way, then you can really give a good surfing experience and not, you know, be high impact on the community, you know, because these people, they're going to come anyways, for sure.
Right. Yeah. It's better that they kind of get, you know, some insight, I think, myself. And speaking about injuries, I mean, I think that's the main thing. When you go on a trip, if you had a good time surfing, good time after surf, and then you come home with no injuries. That was a great trip, right? I mean, so
Yeah, yeah. And
that's awesome.
that's something cool too, because it always makes a bit more sense for us to be doing day trips, which means we'll pick them up in at the hotel in the morning, and then we're just out all day wherever it is we end up.
It's
And
fun.
you can only surf so many hours in a day, so it's kind of just a bonus that the waves are always changing. It's good somewhere every day, so we get to see all these different places, and we just land in all the cool cities, and the guests love it. And it just kind of is like two birds, one stone. We're just going looking for waves, but there's all these cool towns all over the place.
Yeah, speaking about injuries, something that I keep in my surf bag that a friend turned me on to as well is liquid Band-Aid. So when you have like a minor injury, or like for me, if you end up surfing on the rocks, or you cut your foot,
Yeah.
I've had, sometimes you get a little slice on your foot, but that little slice can end your surf day, right? Because you have to like get out of the water.
Right.
I've literally got with a good sized gash on my foot, got out of the water where I would have typically, clocked out, called it a day, put the liquid Band-Aid on there within like 10, 30 minutes. Dude, I was ready to go back out again. Like literally could put pressure on the wound, for turning. And so, yeah, liquid Band-Aid, everybody out there. Definitely something to keep in your surf bag. If you don't have Dave to take care of you and bandage you up.
Yeah, everyone should have a first aid kit in general, I don't care how cool you think you are. It's always good to have one around. You never know.
Yeah.
So.
I definitely have gotten a few injuries surfing. So Dave, I looked at the website and I saw something there that seemed pretty cool too. You guys are providing surfboards as well if they need them, or what?
Yeah. Boards, wetsuit, breakfast, guiding, and rooms. We have 3 different room options. There's you can book a room by yourself. You can book a shared room where you can bring a friend, or you can book that shared room and we'll pair you with another guest in the camp. And then there's a room that has 2 bunk beds and sleeps 4.
Oh, cool, man. Like a hostel
Different
style.
price.
Hey, I'm down. I'd flop myself in there, bunk bed or something.
Hey, wherever it is for you, we got a bed for you, man. No worries.
So you don't even have to bring a board. I mean, you can just jump on the plane and gear will be waiting for you. But I mean, what if you're a ripper though? Like if I'm coming from, I'm a ripper. I'm ready to come. I'm going to lowers, man. I need a Kelly Slater board or a Spine Tech or something. I mean, like, what if somebody really comes like that?
Yeah. Honest, true story. Really good surfers don't really need me. Especially on a trip in California. It's not like going to like West Java or something. So they can like pretty much sort themselves out. But when somebody wants to test out some new boards, we've got a great friend in Used Surf in San Clemente here. Yeah, Maurice, the owner and the shaper of Edit Surfboards and Sorry Surfboards, Cherry Bomb Surfboards. He's been a good friend for a long time. Yeah, he's diversified these days, but he's had a huge success there with Used Surf.
Yeah, I've slanged a couple boards through those guys.
Oh, I think everyone has by now.
Yeah.
I mean, how much better does it get than to just drop off your board and get a phone call in a couple of days?
Text message. I don't even have to talk to anybody. It's like, come pick up your check.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Love those. No, they've got a great demo program, but you know what? A lot of the times when someone comes along, I'll take that opportunity to go buy a good board for the camp. If it's just by chance something we don't have, I mean, I have a huge, arsenal of boards. Like if we don't have the board for you, then you're probably just a tough customer. And I'll grumble a little bit, but eventually the camp will just end up with a board that it apparently needed. So I'll take the opportunity to go get it and just have it.
Yeah, if you're a ripper and you don't travel with your board, then you probably can surf. You should be able to surf anything. Yeah, you should be able to surf almost anything probably if you're that advanced anyways, huh?
Yeah, we've got a good selection, and for those who want to get really particular, there's they do a good demo program down there.
Yeah, so So people come from out of China. I notice that there's a lot of German people from Europe coming in to the camp. And so I'm sure that they want to do more than just surf, So when they come in, what happens then if they're like, hey, man, I want to go groove at the nightclub in LA, or I want to go wherever.
Back in the day, I think in the earlier days, I was grooving those nightclubs with them,
Yeah.
but like, all of a sudden I was like, woke up one day, I was like, all right, I can't like keep on doing it. I was like, I've got to have some
And
type
then
of
go to
limit.
Dawn Patrol in the morning.
Right? Like, like you can't be like Sunday night going like, okay, tomorrow's Monday morning session is at 11:30.
Yeah, right. After the wind gets on it.
But yeah, no, I mean, we'll make sure that they're all sorted out. If it's transportation, if it's, whether it's Uber or somebody from the camp wants to step up and be their driver for the night.
Okay, cool.
There's stuff local. The train is a great resource for them to get down to San Diego.
Yeah.
And they, honestly, they like to hang out a lot. They're so tired by the end of the week, so they're not like frothing to go huge. Sometimes they are, but they like to hang around the hotel, and it's a really cool vibe. It's not such a small group where it's just like you and a couple people, but it's not so big where you can't know everybody, Right. So it's kind of a good size for people to just chill. And I hear all the stories from the hotel management typically on Mondays.
Well, I mean, yeah. So if you're, I think on the best surf trips I've taken, I probably was asleep by like 8:00.
Yeah.
So just surfed out 2 sessions,
yeah.
Eat a bunch of food, and then you're done, man. I mean,
pretty much
sun-baked, I mean.
Yep. Yeah. Sunburn and they surf all day, and they're most of them are just beginners. Mm-hmm. So, surfing twice in a day is like, they are absolutely cooked. Like if I wanted to be really mean, I would just send everyone out for 4, 5, 6 hours on day one, and they'd be cooked the rest of the week. They'd never come back from that.
Yeah, you got to pace yourself a little bit.
Yeah, you do have to pace yourself, and these people are gnarly. They'll just like, I can see they're gassed, and and the waves would be horrible, and they just want to go back out. I'm like, look, like, you got to ask, is it worth it? Will you have more energy tomorrow morning when it's going to be good again? So, but
yeah, you need like a sticker, like slow your roll sticker.
Yeah, something. But I mean, they're typically young, fit people who are, who do other sports, who are athletic. I mean, the type of person that wants to come surf is usually pretty athletic, more or less.
So what do you surfing these days, Dave?
Like my boards?
Yeah. What like if you were to paddle out tomorrow or this last couple of weeks, what have you been riding?
Well, on the really good days, I've been riding a 510 Channel Islands. I think it's a Rook, I want to say.
Okay, CI Rook. Okay.
Yeah, a little round pin. It was actually, I picked it up at Youth Surf.
Okay.
And it was actually one of Lakey Peterson's old boards. Okay, so, I'm not really, we're like about the same size, and I felt this board.
I want to surf like a chick because they rip. You know what I mean? So I'll gladly take one of her boards.
There's no doubt that Lakey Peterson's Channel Islands is just as good as anybody else's. So I picked the thing up. I was like, wow, this thing feels really good. And that's been working really good on the bigger days. And then I have a 6'4" Edit that I used twice this year. And it was, some of the beach breaks down here just was pretty good. So I want a little extra something. But day to day, I've been riding around this little 5'6" Cordell.
Oh, Cordell, man, he's such a good shaper.
Yeah, super fun board. It's like it's getting a little older now, but I can't get rid of it, and I can't find anything to replace it. So
yeah, Cordell's been shaping forever. I used to have a couple way back in the day, and maybe over 15 years ago, and back then, they were fun. I think we had a couple of them in the, I used to share a house with a couple other surfers. And so we had a bunch of boards there. And man, I was always ready to pull out the Cordells out of the stack,
Yeah. They always look really good, don't they? They got got a nice little hip on that lower half.
So the guy at U Surf, the owner of U Surf, he my backup spot, my second place that I surf the most, left closer to where you guys are at. He's always over at my spot right there, too, surfing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, I like to go there because there's a lot of old guys there, and I'm like the younger buck, so I like to press them, make them work.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's such a cool dude.
Yeah, for sure. That left, there's a lot. Everybody's cool at that left, man. It's a pretty cool vibe. But yeah, right on, dude. Okay, well, at least okay, everybody. Now you know what Dave's surfing. Get your Cordell, get your 5'10" and your 6'4". 6'4" was the other one.
Yeah. I mean, just because there's been so much size lately, it's like having a little extra board underneath. I'm not ashamed to do it. I have a lot more fun riding a bigger board when there's actually swell.
Well, I gotta say, man. So I went to I've been surfing all over the place, but I went to Churches 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was literally firing like one of the perfect churches. Yeah. Sun coming through it was barreling on the outside, the inside. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
So I would have, had I seen the waves, I probably would have pulled up with my 5'9" thruster or whatever. And I happened to take a 7'4" mid length. It's actually that big boy right there. And at first I was like, oh man, I got the wrong board. I pulled up, dude, and there was probably 100 people in the water. All the way down the reef, right? Just like a line of ants. And so I passed by like 50 guys on my 7'4" up the, going up the point. I was like, I'm gonna run this. Dude, young guys ripping on 9.0s on the outside, getting barrel, getting pitch, swinging the big axe, dude. And so, I'm sure you've noticed, man, the whole game has changed, right? And so if you can swing a big axe, you're probably going to get the set waves these days. Yeah,
pretty much, yeah. You'll have a lot more fun. I think I see it a lot, especially when the waves get really, really good, and it's actually got something on it. And you see guys that are still riding the board they use when it's 2 foot. It's whatever, to each their own. But, if you go anywhere, if you go on any surf trip anywhere, when the waves get bigger, you always see people pulling out bigger boards. And I don't really see that as much here.
It's hard to do that too. Just
do it. Yeah.
I got this to surf 2 foot waves, 3 foot waves, and I got bowled over, I've had it for about a year, maybe a year and a half. And so I'm getting more and more bowled, but definitely the last couple of months, I'm like, especially like when you have a channel and, you're not always in the impact zone. So I started pulling that thing out, dude. And, it's, you got to kind of like turn it. But I was able to get a lot more waves because everybody else was on more foam, at least some of the spots I was going to. So there you go. I'm almost 50 too. I'll be 50 this year. So dude, when I see young bucks, especially when there's a young buck, like a guy who's in his teenage or 20s or 30s, and they're on a bigger board and I'm on a little thruster, forget about it, bro. I can't keep up.
Yeah, I have no chance. Yeah.
Dude, so anyways, you're right. It hasn't totally caught on, but I see it catching on quite a bit, man.
Yeah. Well, when you talk about guys who are, I'm talking about guys who are like riding shortboards. Right. There's but then stepping up to like that mid-length longboard area. My brother is an amazing surfer, and we always grew up shortboarding. And about 5 years ago, he sold them all, and he only rides mid-lengths and longboards. And he's making his own.
Okay. Yeah. So I have one thruster in my quiver right now.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous because if I damage it, then I have no thruster till I fix it. But I used to have boards that were like a quarter of an inch off, probably. You know what I mean? A bunch of boards, and I'd always pick the newest one, the one that I was the least beat up to surf. Typically, the best day. Now I got boards that kind of go boom, 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 boom. Right. And so. I'm just trying to learn more, surf more boards in more conditions, trying to improve my surfing, man. I skipped that whole longboard beginner thing. I went straight to shortboards back in the day. So So it's kind of, I'm trying to learn it a little bit late, but yeah. So are there any surfers that you've been watching lately, like online or maybe recently or surf news, but are there surfers out there that you're going, man, that guy is killing it?
Yeah, actually, yeah. There's a kid that I've seen down at this spot in Mexico, going unnamed. I'm
Okay.
sorry,
Yeah.
but he's grown up down there. His name's Alan Cleland,
Okay.
and watching this kid on the North Shore this year has been pretty amazing.
Okay.
He,
So he's typically in Mexico, but he's been surfing the North
yeah,
Shore.
yeah, he's from Mexico, but he's been out on the North Shore this year, and just like watching what he's doing at Waimea, this like 13-year-old kid, Alan Cleland. He's like my favorite. He's honestly like my favorite surfer to watch right now. He's also
So,
been involved with on some like the Stab High trips,
okay.
and he's a van surfer now.
So I
But
did
yeah,
see, I
Charger.
did, I did see something, some headline. I didn't click into the video maybe a few days ago or last week, but it was about Waimea Bay, and there was some Grom about
Yeah,
that age that basically, was holding his own against the best.
could be. Could be.
Okay.
I mean, you got to understand the wave this kid grew up on down in Mexico is no joke. It's like a little secret Porto,
Yes.
you know?
Slab.
Yeah, he's no stranger to heavy waves. But yeah, guys like him and the Colapintos have all been fun. I'm just like enjoying watching all the stuff coming off the North Shore. That session that John and Cole Rothman, all those guys had out at, what do they call that wave? Himalayas.
Okay, I got to catch up, dude, because I've been surfing myself, and then I've
Yeah.
seen some clips, but I have to spend an hour or two just.
Yeah.
I know that
Well,
some sick footage.
I mean, it was just like scrolling through Instagram, is where I usually get my surfing news, not
Yeah,
like, I'm
exactly.
not
Okay.
diving
All
too
right.
much into it, but yeah, a lot of cool stuff coming out. And then like Surfline had a great feature on California, and I love looking through those.
Yeah. So where everybody go look out for the kid, Alan Cleland was his name.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, go check him out. I'm gonna go check him out definitely when we're done with this and see what this guy's doing. Um, so in terms of like CT World Surf League, do you do any of that fantasy surfing stuff? Did you do any of that this year?
I've done it every year for years with all my buddies, and this year it just got let go.
Yeah, I actually like last minute jumped on it, and then they canceled. I mean, because the events have been canceled, so it's been, you know,
Yeah, it's weird. It's like no one can really. I mean, I'm having a hard time myself, watching like competitive surfing. I'm just like, it just seems like there's more important stuff in life to think about right now than surf contests.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
mean,
it's true,
that's their career, and
right?
everyone has a right to make a living.
Yeah, you got to put food on the
So,
table for sure,
yeah.
and I guess you're living the dream if you're surfing for your career too.
Yeah.
So check this out. Well, you probably already heard uh, Trussell's if they have any more events, right?
Right.
Trussell's is going to be the final spot, which I saw that coming. So, um,
I think it's cool.
but you guys aren't going to be able to host people and show them around during all that, are you?
Uh,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes. We
there you
will.
go. There you go. If Trestles is on, who knows if it's on, everybody? But if it is, I would start booking right now because the dates are already up there. Get the Cali Camp.
Yeah.
Dana Point is right there. I mean, you can pretty much, stay in your PJs, jump in his van, and he'll probably just shuttle you down to the comp, drop you off on a dolly or something. Just
Could definitely a possibility if that's the way they want to spend their day. Otherwise, we'll just go the opposite direction of the contest and go find good waves.
so it's funny. So growing up, dude, I used to avoid contests. I'd be bummed because they'd pull up and there'd be a contest, and they didn't have all this like information back in the day where you knew where it was going on. You'd pull up and you'd be like, "Oh, I wanted to surf here today, right?"
Yeah.
And so, yeah, now it's all that information's there. So yeah, I actually now like to go to comps, which is a trip. I like to go check it out because I'm trying to learn, or at least I think I am.
Yeah.
Watching them surf, especially when I see them surf places that I surf, right? Cause
Yeah.
then you can kind of translate it. If you see them surfing like pipeline, it's like, I don't really know exactly what that means,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's pretty cool. I mean, lowers is such a good wave. It's weird though to be there watching the contest. I always kind of find that when I'm there watching the contest, I have no idea who's winning.
oh, right,
Being
right.
able to see it, being able to watch it on screen and see the scores and like all the replays, you like I understand it so much more. But the vibe around the contest, something the guests always like. It was a bummer to see. The last 1 or 2 years or so, we didn't have a lowers contest, but every time the U.S. Open is going on or lowers is going on, like we've always got to take time to take the guests up there.
Yeah,
I've
so yeah, I was gonna say, so I imagine if they run it, it's probably gonna be a skeleton operation this year, right? They're probably not gonna be inviting hordes of people, but
I don't know.
like
Yeah.
3 years ago, or before that, but about 3 years ago, when the last events that they had before they stopped having them there,
Yep.
dude, it was pretty cool down there. I mean, they were selling hamburgers and drinks and food, and it was awesome.
Here, the only thing they didn't have was enough shade, because I specifically remember, like I didn't hang out on the beach with them all day. I was like, if you guys want to go hang out at Lowers all day, like I live down the road, like I'll drop you off there and call me when you're ready. I'll pick you up at the top. So they called me like 6 hours later, and by the time I picked them up, every one of them was like looked like they'd walked across the Sahara to come back to the hotel in Dana Point. They were fried. I was like,
It's funny because like surfers too, there, right? A lot of surfers tie their shirt on their head from being out in the sun all
no,
day.
the golden rule is like shade. Especially. I mean, it was like
Yeah, so
September. It was like 100 degrees on the beach.
I've been to a bunch of the Trestles comps, and dude, like I come with a whole like a backpack,
Yeah,
my own umbrella. So I come in, I know how to like set up the rocks around me, and so I kind of
right.
make my own setup. And I could trust me, I know exactly what you're saying because I'm looking to the side, and I'm watching people just sitting there for hours next to me watching the same
Yeah,
comp, and they're just cooked, but they're having a good time, so they stay there. And I'm just under the shade. I usually pull out my sandwich, my grapes,
yeah.
and I'm just
Fully set up. Fully set up. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I remembered that the next time. Like I was
Mhm.
like, all right, don't drop them off. Give an umbrella, sunscreen, shade, water. So
So if
yeah,
you get there early, sometimes they'll give away free ones to
yeah,
some people, but like you can't really count on that. So a lot
no,
of times I'll bring mine, I'll keep it to the side, and if then they might come bring me one, and I could have a swag freaking
yeah.
Hurley Pro or whatever it is. If not,
You know, it,
I'll put my own one up.
it, it's a really cool day actually when the contests are in town, when they want to go, because we'll just go for a surf in the morning somewhere and then spend the afternoon at the contest.
And I've
So
gone out. I've
like,
gone out to eat in San Clemente after the comp, and sometimes like the next table it's Ace Buchan or whatever.
yeah, yeah,
Top pro
yeah.
Cali.
It gets super cool around here when the concert. And I think the new format, I don't really totally understand it,
Me
but it
neither.
seems really cool how they're going to do this. Like, kind of comes down to the top 5 guys and how they sort of did the Leo, Mikey Wright surf off, like multiple heats. Like they get to go a couple rounds. Like I liked that 2 of 3, that best of 3 format.
I agree. It sounds right. I'm with you. I don't. I have to like see it because sometimes you're not sure if what you're reading is going to be what it is. But it sounds a lot better. I've noticed the comps what they've had seem to run smoother, faster, and we'll see at the finals what that
Yeah, and I
does.
mean it's a way to showcase. I think it's a good way to showcase the best surfers, in my opinion. If you've
For
made it to
sure.
that top 5, okay, you definitely surf the best this year, and then they're gonna do this, multi-day event with like 5 guys surfing like multiple rounds against each other. Then I think you really will see who rises to the top, because for sure if you win the best of 3, then that's as fair as it gets. But 25 minutes, 35 minutes, like surfing's so subjective. I mean, you just get one out of that little rhythm, and you know you just aren't given the same opportunity. So I think that best of three gives everyone equal, like very equal opportunities. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I think so too. I have a feeling they chose California as well because if anything goes wrong with the comp or if the waves are, pancaked, I bet you they'll put all those heads up on a plane or on a bus and shuttle them up to the wave pool, if they have to. So they haven't
Yeah.
talked about that, but I have a feeling that's probably their backup insurance plan these days.
Yeah. I mean, we've been really affected directly, by COVID, like everyone. But our business really went to,
Yeah.
pretty much zero overnight. Like our whole year canceled. Like the international travel ban came on March 11th last year, and by March 12th, it was like we weren't gonna have a year.
That was shocking. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Luckily, like we've had a really good 7 years, and I've been lucky, and I'm a good little saver. So I was able to get through the hard times.
Yeah.
And then summer came back around and we really learned a lot. We started getting, all the people who had to cancel their trip to Costa Rica and wherever, were like, they still wanted to go on a trip, but I didn't do any mixed groups, like I got it like to that survival time. I was like, okay, but if I can't let this two people book with this guy and come here, it just seems a little bit socially irresponsible.
Yeah, it's tricky. Yeah,
So
it's a trip.
like, I live alone, so I was heavy, socially distanced from everyone, and I would put these weeks together throughout the summer, like starting around July, that kind of made sense, and I was able to get through the summer and winter that way. And I sort of expect more of that this year.
Yeah.
But maybe just more. I don't.
Which is cool. Like, I mean, because if you're traveling and you book your service, you're getting more of an intimate experience then too. I guess on the bright side, right?
People loved it. Like I was always like, I had to stop like explaining like, normally it's like goes like this and there's more people, and people are like, I think this is okay, man. Just keep doing it. Like, and it was really weird because you never get that chance when you're running a business to like really like stop, take a look at it from the outside. And like, you don't really ever get that chance when it's just running. It's like some make-believe fantasy situation that could never happen, but it actually happened. And that cutoff was like, it really made me realize like what we have, what we built. I have an amazing business partner who works on the technical side and does all of our sales in Europe. His name's Daniel. He lives in Switzerland.
All right, Daniel.
And yeah, he's absolutely pivotal. Nice. But yeah, we learned a lot this year about, I should say in 2020, about really who our domestic clients are, because we never really focused on it at all.
Right.
So that was really good, and we'll put an effort there. We also have an exciting thing that happened down in Oceanside. We've been on the waiting list for a surf school permit for a long time. Yeah. And, we were able to pick up a permit last year. We had the permit all of last year, but we never actually opened the surf school because it was like, man, what a year to start. So we're just happy to hold the permit in the back pocket for the year, and we've renewed it, and we own Tower 5 Surf School.
Yeah, you're down south of the Oceanside Pier.
Yeah. I mean, much respect. I know I don't, I can only imagine that. I know there was someone there before, and I hope that,
I think it's all. I think everybody's still there.
Okay, cool. But yeah, they only have like a certain amount of permits, and that one opened up for us.
Cool.
And we were able to get it, and
nice.
Gonna be focused on getting in the mix down there, doing some daily lessons and stuff, and we'll run the Cali Camp, out of Dana Point up here and do our thing.
So that sounds exciting. Oceanside's a great place to surf. I mean, so there's a bunch of peaks, and south of the Oceanside Pier is great. There's a bunch of waves down there.
It's a great spot to give people some good whitewater, and it's a really nice addition to our business to have something like that down there.
Nice. Yeah, man. Well, good on you on that. I think, I think that same message you were sending out goes for myself as well. And I think a lot of people who are, trying to make the most out of things and actually maybe even, continue to grow during all these challenges is, yeah, if you can acknowledge and slow down to see, the new information that you would have never been able to find before all this happened, because you would have never slowed down. Like you said, it's all theory, hypothetical. You kind of stick with what you know. And so this kind of forced everybody to either grumble and kick rocks, right? Or figure out like what the positive learning, situation was.
I mean, it was certainly scary, like when it all happened. I mean, there's more to it,
Sure.
and this is something, I mean, I think you saw, it was always our goal to, we've been partnered with this hotel in Dana Point for years and years, but it was always our goal to open our own small surf hostel.
When you started 15, that kind of.
Yes, we did. We took over a 6-unit apartment building,
Cool.
South Ocean side, kind of amongst a lot of the other vacation rental homes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was this great spot. And we signed a 5-year lease on this building. And
Before, that was like the year before, half a year.
Took over the deposit and did the whole thing. Yeah, we opened it on March 1st. We had our first guests come in. And then the travel ban came in on March 11th, and it was just clear, it was over. And so that was actually really brutal, it was like kind of an emotional time, because you sort of see your 10-year dream. It's like you had it, and then it just is like poof. But luckily, we were working with really great people there. We were able to get out of the lease. We were clever enough to back ourselves up with a 2020 contract in the hotel in Dana Point, just because that's the Swiss guy going, hey, maybe we should do that, just because you never know. Something could happen. This could happen. Well, some things happen.
It's like bringing 2 surfboards on your surf trip.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, from a business standpoint, it didn't make sense for us not to do it. It would have only been like my ego that kept me doing that. So luckily,
and my ego has cost me a lot of money over the years, man.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the best way to run a business is lose your ego, and just get down and do it, because it's hard.
Yeah, I was super stoked when when you guys were talking about that. I saw you get that set up. I saw you spend time before opening to get it ready to go.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was starting to see you more around the hood, and I was like, cool, man. I was actually stoked. I was going to go by there when you guys are barbecuing and eat some chicken wings or something. And,
we got rocked. But I mean, we were able to get out, and we didn't lose too much. And unfortunately, everybody we had working with us kind of had to go and do other things. Luckily, everyone's really cool and kind of just saw us like, we did what we could with, PPP loans and this and that, but you know how it goes. Really the way last year went was just like so hard back to the roots. I felt like day one all over again. But, it's like, again, it's one of those things, like you always say, like, if I knew now what I knew back then, boy, oh boy, would I do things different. And it's like, man, that couldn't have happened more to a T. So it's like really going back to day one, doing everything by myself, but with this years of experience. So it was all easier, and I just see how to run the business so much more effectively.
Yeah, in some ways there's like less weight on you, if you just start with from scratch.
Everything in general too, especially, because with so many I want to be as socially responsible as possible. And like I said, I realize these people are going to come to our community anyways. So I actually am happy to have a bit of kind of control of what we do, where we go, what.
Dude, I got to tell you though, I was loving the locals only vibe for a while, man. Like everybody was kind of like closed. I mean, it's not scalable, but it was a weird feeling, on a short term of like, all of a sudden everybody was kind of like, why are you coming to my beach? And I
Right.
just want to surf here. And, I mean, so
Oh,
anyways, that was weird. That was super weird.
Oceanside, I mean, the whole thing with coronavirus, I'm not a political person. I'm just more like, hey, I don't have all the answers, but if we're gonna be wrong, we should be wrong in the right direction.
Right.
Because being wrong in the wrong direction is potentially catastrophic. So I'd rather just be like, hey,
Yeah,
let's
I've been on the same thing too. I've been kind of, trying to be as cautious as I can. Um, I'm not, I mean, I think, yeah, I'm just trying to be smart. It's not so much about political views. It's more about,
right.
like you said, you got to figure what your liabilities are. You got an operation to run. You got, in my case, I got a family. If somebody's telling the truth about how sick you can get, well, that can really slow things down at home.
Sure, sure.
It
I
can
mean,
set you back a few years.
I think everybody knows, someone who's had it by now. I know, like, I think probably at 20 or more. And,
Yeah,
out of those 20 or 22, 20 something, like, one or two got pretty messed up.
yeah.
You know,
I know a couple people that died already. So,
there you go.
but I know a lot of people that didn't. But it's a trip. I mean, I thought about the person who died, and I'm like, he was older, but I'm like, I don't think he was ready to die. But
Yeah.
anyhow, man, I'm glad you guys are being, as responsible, as safe, and then, I mean, financially smart as well to keep these tours going. Because I know when I travel someplace, man, it's awesome to have a guide to show you around.
Yeah.
I want to drop another thing that I don't know if it's going to happen, but maybe it'll happen, and maybe the Cali Camp guests will be able to enjoy it. But WSL is planning to put on another comp in Oceanside, but it's not CT level. It's going to be
Okay.
QS.
Yeah, I've heard something about this.
And
Very
yeah,
cool.
so I don't know if it's really going to happen yet. It's on the calendar. Everything's been getting canceled, but it's at a certain spot. And it's funny because I got another guy I'm going to be talking to maybe later this evening, and it's when you're doing videos and you're doing all that stuff. I'm kind of like you, where I'm not trying to overly hype certain spots,
Mm,
and at the same time you're trying to, like, keep it real. So, but yeah, WSL is going to have it at the spot where I tend to see you all the time, over there. So we'll see if
that's
that happens.
cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
hey, like you
hey,
said, they're going to come anyways.
yeah, I mean, surfing it's just a funny thing these days, isn't it? But there's two ways you can go about it. You can be cool or you can be not cool. If you're surfing regulates itself, right?
Right.
So it's like if you're struggling to get your waves at your home break, you might want to just ask yourself some tough questions.
Right.
You know?
So, and what I've noticed since I've been down in Oceanside for a while is where I'm surfing a lot. It used to be empty. I mean, for probably the first 4 or 5 years I lived down here, and then more people started coming locally, and then now in the last 3 or 4 years, I noticed a lot of the San Clemente crew will come down for a day run too, and come surf our spot, including some of the top surfers in the world. I've seen them all there
I
getting
mean,
waves. So.
yeah. I think, I saw the change myself too. I mean, it was always my thing. When I was 16 years old, as soon as I got a driver's license, I grew up here. And, the moment I could drive that 20 minutes down the freeway, I was doing it. I used to surf in like NSSA contests when I was a little kid, and they
Okay.
always had one in Oceanside every year. And I was like, that's like my favorite place. Like, I love, like, there were so many little peaks everywhere and everything. So, I mean, I'm 35 now and I've been surfing down there pretty consistently since I was 16, and I've definitely seen the shift.
Yeah,
Like, just
once in a while I'll run into some of the pros, and they'll
yeah,
ask where I'm living at, where I'm surfing at, and when I say Oceanside, do they all light up like, oh, all right, Oceanside, and
yeah. Well, the good news is everybody up here, most people still think it's like really far away. They're like,
yeah,
I can't get all the way down there. It's like, but it's great if everyone's on e-bikes and golf carts up here. It's like they can go ride to lowers 3 times a day.
dude, they're killing me. But
Oh,
and speaking about pros coming down here, in the last couple of years, Tanner Gudauskas moved down here,
Yeah,
and Dylan Graves. He's running with those guys too a lot, and so
I've
they're
been
all
seeing the Gudauskas crew down there.
yeah. So they're all yeah, and I see. So of course his brothers, they all come down here once in a while. I'll see them running out and scoring some ways. All those guys rip. They always have the best vibes. If you've ever been out in the water with pros, sometimes it can be tough because they're dominating, but some of them are super nice, man. The Gudauskas brothers, super cool people. You might not even notice them in the lineup. They're kind of like they stay low and they kind of just chill to the side. And
Yeah, yeah. I had a really fun session a long time, no, not too, maybe a year or so ago. And I was surfing kind of in the middle between the South Jetty and the pier,
yeah, okay.
and
Oh, it's good area.
kind of getting a couple of peeks around. And Jordy, came straight out to where I was surfing, and he was like the coolest guy to surf with.
Wow, yeah, that guy rips. The guy's super tall too, just giant ripper.
Really friendly guy, really fun to surf with, and yeah, amazing to watch surf.
So, all right, but Dave, man, this is such a good chat, man. I'm so stoked to at least find out what you're doing. That you're still charging forward, still getting waves, surfing 5'10", 6'4s. I'm feeling it. 35, dude.
Getting there, got a couple grays in the beard now.
Yeah, well, I'm rocking mine, dude. I actually let them grow in just so I'm hoping the groms don't sweat me. Let me get some waves.
I think it does something.
Dude, I talk to people. I ask them. Sometimes I'll be like, "Yo, grom, let me have this one," just so they don't, press me up on the peak and make me freak out on the takeoff. And, hey, I'm not too. I'll use the age, man. It's the only thing I got working for me at this point.
Yeah.
But dude, I'm stoked you're charging forward. I'm stoked you guys are still, so Dana Point at least, SoCal, south side of the pier. You guys might get that popping. So, dude, I hope to see you there too. So, Cali Camp, check it out. Dave's over there hooking you up. He's on Instagram. He's also on YouTube. And so I'm going to get that fired up behind us. But while that is running, Dave, I want to see if you want to give any shout outs. Local businesses, local surfers, who's out there supporting you? Who do you want to support?
Definitely want to give a shout out to Jitters Coffee Pub.
Okay, Jitters Coffee Pub. Where's that at? I haven't been there.
It's right there on the kind of like the north side of town, over by just north of the movie theater. It's in a small little center over there, but they've been there 15 years. And Clayton and Valley, the owners, it's that type of place where it's not just a good vibe. By the third, fourth time you're going there, it's like you're on first name basis, and it's just I really appreciate what they do.
How's coffee before a surf too, right? So essential.
Oh yeah, Clayton, he's not messing around with his coffee, so.
Oh shit! Okay, yeah. They got snacks and sandwiches or donuts or what?
They've got all the good stuff. They got fresh baked pastries and muffins and everything every morning. Valley is an amazing baker. She's actually also part, and want to also give a shout out to the O-Side Kitchen Collaborative.
Okay,
they've been providing meals for families who are food insecure in the Oceanside area. So O-Side Kitchen Collaborative doing actually amazing things, and Valley is running that. They received a grant from the city and opened up a commercial kitchen, and just bless their hearts.
Gosh, and especially right now, those things are super. People need that stuff, right? So So if you're doing that work out there, man, hats off to people doing community service and helping out everybody. That's cool. And what about surfers and stuff? I mean, who's the local rippas around town, man? I mean, who's laying it down?
I gotta say that the dude down there, in my opinion, is Duran Barr.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the owner of North County Surf Academy. They do surf lessons there right at the south side of the jetty. And I don't know him so well. I don't know him so well, but every time I've ever seen him, he's been super cool. We've chatted before, and I think he does a really great job down there with his surf school. And give him
Cool.
follow on the Instagram, Duranimal. He's a
Very
charger.
animal. Right
Yeah.
on, everybody. So there you go. Get your surf lesson on.
Cool guy charges.
Oh,
Like,
sick,
yeah,
dude. I mean, so
very
he can
cool.
give you tips even if you're a good surfer.
Yeah, I really respect what he does. You know, he's doing lessons, and he also does coaching and guiding, video guiding. You know, I think I see a lot of people start to do this. You know, I've been doing it a long time, and he's, you know, maybe one of not even a handful of guys that I've seen pop up in operation and just go like, that's cool. You know, like the dude's doing it in a really good way. If people
I,
are
I
having a good time, that's the best you can ask for.
exactly. I'm still learning. I mean, I think every surfer out there is still learning. So surf coaches, surf guides, all that stuff really helps.
He does a really
Uh,
cool performance surf academy type thing. It's like a 1 or 2 day event where they do a lot of video coaching, fitness workouts, talk about diet stuff. I would give that a check out for sure for the advanced surfers.
Dope, man. Okay, well, that's good info, man. A lot of good info today. So there you go, everybody. Dave, the Cali Camp, bro. I'm so glad that you came on, joined the board meeting, and yeah, everybody check it out and get on the tour. See what's up.
Thank you, Phil. Really appreciate it, man. Nice talking with you.
You too.